Hey friends, I hope everyone is absolutely well. This is Satirian Leafspar, and this is going to be another Resin Rambles. I did post I posted a post, look at that, on my Instagram talking about a Q&A. So towards the end of this video, I will get my tablet, pull up that post, and answer those questions if you participated in that, so you'll have an opportunity to get those answers. And I'll also post a link back to your Instagram so that anyone that's already following me or happens upon this video will have an opportunity to hopefully follow back into your Instagram and see, the type of photos that you upload, the dolls that you have, and the like, if you happen to be a BJD Instagrammer and the like. Anyways, moving right along, the nature of the Resin Rambles, which, by the way, is going to be a tea and rambles, no drinking tonight. It's a work night. I was going to do this last night, but it happened that I did not. Was doing some things with friends and just did not feel like recording a video. But I'm going to kind of talk about some of the things that I've been doing, some of the projects that I've been working on for some of the crew that I got in with the last box opening. I think it was the last box opening that I did. The most recent order that came from Impldoll, which was Ives' body and the Lucien sculpt, as well as the Aries. He's way over there, and I'm not going to get him. He's in about the same state that Lucien is, except Lucien's got eyes in, but they're both still totally naked and unblushed. My area has been a complete and utter swamp. Humidity is stark high, and there's not anything that I've been able to do about it. As far as getting them blushed, hopefully this week will bring some warmer weather and it'll dry up a little bit, and I can at least start working on them. But I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about this guy, who now does have a name. I have decided to name him Faolan, F-A-O-L-A-N, which, if research provides accurate, it is supposed to be Gaelic for little cub, as he is, in my story, a werewolf cub. So if that's inaccurate, then I'm going to stick with it anyways, because I like how it sounds. Faolan. He's going to have probably one of the more exotic names in my group, but that will be kind of explained in the story. Maybe I'll do a story time tag starting with each one of my crew that I've not done it for. That way we can start learning about the crew, what's going on with them, and who they are, especially since I haven't started doing photo stories yet, which will be coming this year. With warmer weather, I can start building David's bar, which will be a center point and a hub for a lot of my crew. So until the bar is done, the photo stories will have to wait, because I don't want to Photoshop everything. I really want it to be a tangible place. But for Ives, which is this guy here, the Impldoll Ives, who I have decided to name Louie, because I have a wild obsession with Interview with a Vampire, one of my more favorite movies. And if you're familiar with the movie, there's a character in that movie named Louie, who happens to be a vampire. And this sculpt does have vampire teeth, if you did not see it. So I figured, why not pay homage to the guy. I've been working on stuff for him. These are kin clothes, by the way, which has been amazing, being able to go out and buy things right off the shelf, so to speak, and put them on him and be able to immediately dress him. So far, everything has fit him, from the husky line all the way down to the regular line. Although there are some few clothing in, because I did find out they released a skinny kin, and he is very tiny. Do I have him near me? No, I don't. I've already put him away. He is very skinny. He has very, very small legs. A very, very narrow waist. The shirt still fit, but nothing in the pants would fit at all. So far, everything has fit, with the exception of anything in the pants for the skinny Kens. But I've been working on a lot of projects for this guy, just because the items have been so readily available because of the scale he is, which has been amazing. And I'll post some before pictures of these things. Like, this was a Barbie size beanbag chair and ottoman that I repainted this past week and a half. And I figured I'd leave that just kind of as a reminder to myself of what the original colors were. This set came with like a flat screen TV and a remote, which obviously I don't own the image for Thundercats, but I'm not going to be selling it either. It's personal use. I peeled the sticker off of the flat screen TV. Ooh, caught it. I painted the buttons. I don't know if that's showing up on the tiny remote, because I felt it was necessary. And when I painted the TV, when I pulled the sticker off the TV and I made these little screens, I used sticky tack. I don't have the other screens right here with me, but I made it and laminated them so I could change the screens out. So I made about 6 of them, so it'd be really easy to just swap them over. I'm happy with how it turned out. Super easy to do. So I've been working a lot with the different things for Louie. I'm going to keep trying to find different things that's in the Barbie scale that wouldn't really look awkward in a full-size SD diorama too, because I think those items would kind of fit in a kid's room. Maybe not the entertainment center. I think the entertainment center would appear very small, but like the TV sitting up on a cabinet or on a dresser, I think would look fine. I've kind of made the decision, and I'm really thinking about holding firm to it, of keeping my crew in the 1970s to 1980s time frame. Almost firm with that. I really like the clothing style for my crew. It's gonna pose some problems with propping. Like, the TV wouldn't fit at all. It's a flat screen TV. They didn't exist. You see things like, this was another one of the projects that I did, and I know you can kind of find these things all over. I'll show the package too. It's the little MacBook mirror, compact mirror things. Let's see if I can get it open. I'm going to cover up the mirror because it'll like freak out the viewfinder. But that's all it is. And the same process that I went through with the TV, I made a couple of screens, so to speak, just by literally screen capturing my desktop, which I have a Mac. And on a couple of them, like, I opened a window. Like, that's a text document. Obviously, these things would not fit. This one I thought was really fun. Black Magic Fear in 2 Border Towns, especially with my crew. They're all supernatural. I changed the wallpaper on this one just so it would be different. So I worked on that at the same time I was working on the TV. But with it being the 70s, you're obviously not going to have a slimline MacBook. the computers back then looked entirely different. They were not slimline. They were very, very bulky pieces of equipment. So I don't know if I've mentioned this in any of my other videos. There's been talk about I have talked about making a doctor, and I don't mean like PhD. I mean Doctor Who doctor. And I don't mean recreating like David Tennant or Matt Smith. I just mean creating a Gallifreyan doctor type time traveling character to put in with my story, just because I think it would fit in with all of the supernatural type characters. A time traveling fix-it type person. So maybe at that point, you know, the laptops would work out. If not, the props are done, and if I decide not to stick with the 70s and 80s, they're done. It's already over and done. They're fixed. I like them regardless. So that's one of those things. I'm going to lean forward a minute and grab. This is the Dylan head that I got from the 2 event. He has no highs, but that's okay. He is on a Granado bust with a fur wig on. I'm not a fan of what I can do with fur wigs. Others do better, but I just kind of make them sit on top of the heads. He's on a Granado bust, and he is wearing a, I don't know what these are called, ascot maybe, that I received as a gift from Tiffy BJD Crafts a little while back. But it's kind of nice to have these busts just so floating heads don't have to literally sit. I'm sorry about that. I have to sit around. I've got plans for him. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with him, but I have a general thought and idea. I'm either going to order a body from Impldoll for him, or just from another company, just so there's some body diversity amongst the crew. Other than that, I don't really know. We got Faolan here, like I was talking about earlier. I did pop some eyes in him. Just eyes I had on hand. Dolly nudity, if you're offended, if that's whatever. These eyes are just eyes I got from Wish. Paid $1, got 6 pair. They're like this steely blue color. They're not even really in his head straight, or in his head right, but they're working for the time being. They're keeping his, I hate the whole vacant. I need to put some in Dylan too. I just like them better when they've got eyes in their head. I'm going to start working on him some clothes hopefully this week. And if I'm lucky, get him blushed. He's the next kind of kid I want to focus on. And these seem like so much like kids to me, especially considering the rest of my crew are so tall and so big and beefy. But they're fun to work with because they're so manageable and small. I'm going to do the body review on the Ives body, the baby body, and the young body, as they call it, probably this coming week, and I'll get them uploaded separately over the course, like I said, of the next week. I'm going to get into answering some of these questions before this video goes in way too long. I will always butcher your name, but David, your Instagram handle will be linked right down here below. I'm so sorry. How much would you put up with for a doll? Like wait times, seams, color, posing, and cost. With my personality, unfortunately, probably not much. If we're talking wait time, from the point in which the final payment is made, I expect my doll to be shipped within 3 months to 6 months. 6 months is almost on the edge of me getting a little anxious and iffy. And the reason I say this, it's not because I don't have patience, is you're starting to ride on the edge of where PayPal won't even back you up anymore. From what I understand from a recent conversation that I was having with a PayPal agent over another issue with another company. So 3 to 6 months, wait time starts getting a little iffy to me if it goes beyond the 6 month point. Seams. I've never had a doll with poor seam lines. I don't know if I would deal with them at all, simply because I've purchased almost exclusively at this point, minus a bust and a head, and a Vendoll or a vinyl doll from Impldoll, which has no seam lines on their special brown and real skin. I don't know if they exist on their tan, dark tan, and the other colors. But I don't know if I would deal with it very much because I don't think it's called for. I think with quality control and post-manufacturing, it can be controlled. There's just no call for it. Color. Color goes back into quality control. I think that's dual-sided. The color that they represent on your monitor is objectionable. So is your monitor displaying appropriately, and how different is it from your monitor? Have they changed the color since they put up the color chart? If they have, shame on them for not updating their color chart, in which case they need to correct the problem on their end. I'm one of these people, I worked in retail for so long, I expect appropriate retail behavior, so I ask a lot of questions before I make purchases. So like when I made my purchases from Impldoll, I emailed them, asked those questions. Is the color chart accurate on your website? Is it up to date? And I got the response back, it is up to date, but it's, it may appear differently than it does on your monitor because of blah, blah, blah. But I still won't put up with very much. Posing. Posing I'm a little more free with because I'm okay with putting in the after work, because once my dolls get home, I almost always immediately unstring them, suede them, and wire them. So if the cost is reflected in the purchase, I'm okay with it. But if the cost is way up there, then I expect the joints to operate appropriately. And the next part of his question was cost. That goes back into my previous statements. The cost needs to reflect the product that you're receiving. For example, you got Impldoll and you have, Resin Soul. They have one price, and then you have like Ipplehouse and Deushache. You've got two different price points there. You expect something different from the two companies, but I think a lot of times people get something different from both companies. I've seen a lot of people get very, very good products from Resin Soul and Impldoll, and I've seen a lot of people get some questionable products from like Ipplehouse. I'm not dogging them. I'm just saying I've seen a lot of complaints come from higher end companies like seam lines and sanding marks and all of these things where Cost is subjectionable. Subjectionable. Wow, that was a butchered word. It's subjective. I expect to pay and get what I pay for. So if there was a problem, I'd be emailing companies and trying to get it handled. If it could not be handled, I would be opening a PayPal complaint. That's why I wouldn't deal with anything greater than 3 to 6 months. Coffinandsnake, in reference to David, which he is the Impldoll Chat, Big Werewolf. Boxers or briefs? Probably neither. Touch of backstory. He came from a Native American reservation. He would be more apt when he was not in full civilian clothing to probably be in a loincloth. Marshalldarling. I've got 2 questions. First, what do you think will be the hardest prop / accessory to find for your crew? So, David's motorcycle. He runs a motorcycle bar called the Fang and Claw, and I want to get him a motorcycle, and it has been a chore. Secondly, I can't talk. How do you feel about people drawing your characters and dolls? I think it's amazing. When I first got into the hobby, Yakuza Dolly did a drawing of the original shell of David. I still own it to this very day. It is framed. It hangs on my wall right over there. I'll get it posted in this video. I love it. I see it every time I walk into my doll / craft room, and I adore it. Lady.aede asks, how is your prop making progress going? So the doll money is a confirmed, consistent product that I can make, as well as passports, credit cards, driver's license, and social security cards, currently, as well as cigarettes, Ouija boards. My goal, hopefully by the end of March, is to have an Etsy shop open with those items, because I'm going to try to move away from selling on Instagram and selling on Etsy, because I think it will be easier. I also want to add tarot cards and playing cards into that mix as well. Now, in addition to those questions that I got, I also was asked by Olive Dolls to have each OC tell an embarrassing story about each other. So, considering the nature of that question, which is an amazing question, I'm going to branch that out into a whole video on its own and possibly turn it into a tag. And even if it's not a tag, I'm going to branch it off into a video on its own, because I have got what I'm going to consider 3 established OCs that are shelled and available. Faolan, Louie, and the Aries, whose name is Liam. They exist. They're shelled. They're not fleshed out yet. So I've got 3 established ones that would be very happy to participate in that. Olive Dolls. So I'm going to branch that out into a video on its own. That way we can all enjoy that and participate in that. Get to see some embarrassing stories from each other, because they've definitely got some that I'm sure that they can share. Other than that, I know that I've not been as active here or on Instagram. There's been a lot of stuff going on personal-wise and work-wise, which has kept me from doing that. Hopefully that will slow down here very soon, and I can start being a little more active again. My calendar seems to fluctuate a lot here lately, going up and down, and it's not very consistent either. So, is what it is. We hope for improvement. That's all we can do. Anyways, hope everyone has a great rest of the night. I feel like I'm repeating myself and getting rambling. I'm going to try to avoid that. Love yourself, love each other, love your dolls. Good night.